YouTube, and hello to my fellow Rumble users. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that's a little bit emotional. It also connects in terms of academics and one mindset that I believe is very flawed in terms of today. It's very common amongst many Asian families and even some families today, at least in the Western world. So whether you guys are adults or still elementary school students, or whether you're still high school students, at least more than 50% of us were taught to always get good grades, be the valedictorian of the class, be the top performer of the class. At least this is the same to my mom's perception. Be a good person in terms of grades. Get good grades, and get a job. Go to college. But the problem with this chat, oh my god, my dad. No, God bless my dad though. Alright, but you can't disrupt this video. But as I'm saying, I almost got thrown off there. The really big problem that I have with this mindset chat is that this mindset fails to account for two things. Number one, assuming that getting good grades will bring someone into college may have worked around 50 years ago. All right, maybe since like 1980s, 1970s. Obviously, since then, it still had its own downsides. Let's be honest. Every era had its own downsides, but generally, it was a little cheaper then. Let's just say it as that. The problem with this mindset chat is that the first problem out of all the three that I'm going to name here, the first one is that the economy and job market is often fluid, or it doesn't stay the same all the time. What someone can take an occupation for in trade school, or let's say major in one location, it may absolutely be empty, so you're gonna earn a lot of money there. But in another place, it's gonna be infatuated. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that's going on. You might not even earn as much money there. First problem with that chat is that it's obviously economics, economy. Obviously, what will be available now may not be available later. What will be cheap now may not be cheap later. And the problem with this is that the assumption that good grades get someone into college, the assumption that college gets someone into a good job with quote unquote higher earning potential, is definitely flawed. Alright, it depends location to location, but it also depends on the economy too, as prices tend to get more expensive. But we're talking about it post high school, post graduation, post college. Let's talk about during the high school and during the college moments. So the second problem that I have with this is that a lot of students, especially for the ones who don't know who they want to be in real life, I'll be honest, I don't know who I want to be too. I'm still deciding. I don't want to be pressured to go into college too early. A lot of people are still being pressured to go into college too early, either due to families. I still feel bad for my Asian people out there. Um, the problem the problem with this chat is that this runs on an old script, and this perception slash script assumes that everything's gonna go in place. But in reality, chats, reality is often fluid. All right, and the truth is, not many people may be ready to go to university or college. Many people may still need a gap year, some time to decide. To pressure them into college now slash university in the immediate is to pressure them to also going into student loan debt, into complete debt that may screw up their livelihood. Let's say they want to make a family in the future. Now they can't because they're in debt. They're forced into something that their family didn't want them to. And that's the second problem that I have. Just too long didn't want to listen to me. First problem is that location wise, it really depends on the job statistics slash major. Number two, it also depends on the person. Are they being pressured to get this degree or not? What is the availability of this degree across regions? And now we're going to go to number three. Let's go before anything else ever happens. We're going to talk about health, mental health, whether it be during college, during high school, even during elementary school. We also have to ask the question that this mindset has a flaw of. Is this person doing okay? What can we fix to help that? What can we fix in the issues that they may have now to help them be a better student? What issues do they have to now that could stop them from being a good person in terms of grades? Maybe they're going through some court dates right now. Maybe there's some parents that's going on. Maybe there's some sort of dispute. The problem with this mindset is that it overlooks the student's mental health. This mindset is often rigid, and ultimately it depends on the location. It depends what's being chosen. It also asks the question: is this person being pressured to go to college or not? Is that it can often be very destructive for people who don't know. It can even destroy futures. because people are being pressured into things that they don't want to. Like there's even like 40-year-olds right now who still earn a lot, but they didn't get to choose what they want to. They were forced by their parents to do this or that. And that's the problem. I want to prevent this from happening. Well, I can't completely prevent it from happening, but I could raise awareness about it. And that's the first issue about this. Well, that's like three issues already that I've talked about. The fourth issue here, chat, is at number four. This idea of getting good grades, getting valedictorian, also feels lackluster in terms of reality. Obviously, as I said before, economy is getting more expensive. Colleges are beginning to raise their prices. So this chat is that people can be indirect slaves to college admissions officers as an issue of this. All right. The problem with this is that if someone is forced into this mindset without any sort of critical thinking skills whatsoever, they can be an indirect slave to college admissions officers and most importantly put all their eggs in one basket in terms of getting the perfect grades possible, being the top of the class. But the problem is that going up this grade milestone is often empty. The problem is when people put all of their eggs in one basket, grades, 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 to look good in front of their parents, it's often lackluster because it also fails when you put it in all in one basket. It fails to look at the social skills that could have been built. What network of friends could you have built? What people could you have related to? What people could you have debated about? Let's say if you have differing viewpoints. What people could you have connected with had you not had you not put all of the grades, all of the eggs into one basket, as we call the grade milestone? And that's the problem that I have with this mindset again, chat, is that it also fails to look at that type of error that could happen. I've also been realizing, chat, I don't want to be an indirect slave to college admissions officers. And let me also say this here to nuance my points a little bit more. Obviously, if you want to go to college, I'm not gonna hate on anyone who goes to college. All right, I'm not gonna hate if you're going to trade school, university, college, or a path that no one, no one ever dares to go to. All of it is up to you. Everyone has their own life path. You can do as you wish. All right, take this with a grain of salt. All right, everybody has their own ways of doing things. Everybody has their own approaches to life. All right, life is rarely rigid. It's rarely permanent. For example, I'm not gonna be living in my childhood home forever, or I'm not gonna stay in high school forever. So what I've seen from this chat is that for me, it's not about avoiding trade school. It's not about avoiding good grades. It's about not putting these eggs in one basket. All right. If you want to go to college, you do have to build a good portfolio for yourself. You must build a good admissions. You must get yourself some nice college credits. Get some of those nice SAT scores. It's all of that basic stuff. But it's that's important that we don't put it into an extreme so much that we put all of our eggs into one basket. All right, we can't put it so much that we lose our own personality, that we lose who we are as people, and naturally that makes us imperfect. All right, because when we share our eggs between many baskets, we're not always going to reach in first place in terms of grades or in terms of being the best person emotionally. This is nuance in its finest points because we can't go to either extremes, alright? We can't go to the point that we don't interact with anyone, only looking for grades, and we can't go to the point that we forget about grades and look at people instead. The problem is here to balance it. But the biggest problem that I have is that many people out there, especially with this type of mindset, as I said with already the three issues that I've talked about, can fall into this trap of being an indirect slave to college admissions officers slash university admissions officers. Alright, I don't want to waste my vitality away. I don't want to waste all of my formative years away just to look good for a college resume. Not every single second. Like we have to diversify ourselves a little bit. We have to be what it means to be human while also balancing high. So I think this is a perfect example of work slash life balance, as I said again. But what I've realized from this chat is that in terms of me, it's not about hating college. Oh, I already said it, never mind. But it's not about college or in terms of hating it. Rather, we're gonna talk about me now. What I've seen from this, my takeaway notes from this chat is that there are many multiverses out there where I do what my mom wants me to do. Be the valedictorian of the class. Be the top person. Be the person on the top of that grade milestone. Be the best person that they could ever want me to be. So, in this universe chat, out of all of the multiverses out there where I've chosen to follow directions, in this one chat, I choose different. I choose the deviant way, at least in the eyes of this mindset, in the eyes of my mom. Because I refuse to be a 100% straight A student. I refuse to be a 100% perfect student with perfect marks. I want to embrace a reality that I make mistakes, but most importantly, it's what makes me imperfect. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not always gonna look good. I'm not always gonna have my best days. Alright? I want to feel what it means to love and what it means to be loved, to reciprocate that. I want to be what it means to be a person, be what it means to truly be a real person. All right, and it doesn't mean sacrificing away my grades. All right, we still have to balance. We'll still have to get ourselves good grades, but we can't take the extremes to either side. And that's what I've learned from here, chat. Is that out of all the multiverses out there, think of all of them, wifed up or single. In this one, at least in the eyes of my parents, I choose to be deviant. But in the eyes of the rest of society, through unempathetical, and I'm just being human. I'm not here to brag. I'm not here to look better in front of other people. I just want to live my life on my terms, not be pressured to do anything. I want to be what it means to love, to embody what it means empathy in itself, and practically what it means to be human.